Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Talks One podcast. Today, we have a very good topic, and it will be very useful for many people out here who are concerned about the future of jobs and as AI takes over and the uncertainty that we are seeing on day-to-day basis. How are the jobs going to be shaped as we move along? So I did quite a bit of thinking on this. I did read bunch of articles here and there, and I will be, continuously updating my thoughts on this because this is not something very concrete. This is an estimation, a prediction on my behalf as to in a decade from now what will be the core roles, areas of expertise that would be required, and what people should be focusing on. So take it with a grain of salt. Please do your own research, talk to people, read across the world. I am also doing the same. And in my mind, one thing stands out for sure is creativity. So anything that requires creative pursuits, which has intuition built into it, requires problem solving, requires understanding abstract concepts and applying them to real world problems, would require human intervention. And this will always remain the forte of human beings. I'm not going to say that you will not use tools that are AI based, etc., to make them into reality, but the thought process, what needs to be done, exactly what domains it has to be doing, or creating completely new fields, creating new domains, this will be in the purview of human beings. There are certain areas and industries which I believe will be big in the coming years, and a lot of energy, input, thought, research will go into them. So it goes without saying that healthcare and biotechnology will be big. As you know, human beings are growing older. Across the world, there are a bunch of diseases and ailments that are coming, and we need something strong. We need a lot of research in tackling these kind of ailments and diseases and things like that. So those areas will be ripe for research, and I think will require a lot of energy, input, funding, and hence these will be important topics for sure. Then I think many of you might have seen that nowadays people have started talking about space research, right? A lot of people are even saying that data centers and energy generation will now happen in space directly from the solar energy or wind energy, or even mining of different metals from various different planets and asteroids and things like that. So I think even that will be a ripe area for research. There are companies like Blue Origin or SpaceX or NASA, ISRO, etc., who focus solely on the space, mainly sending communication satellites and things like that. But I think in the coming years, there will be much more companies in that area. We will require a lot of expertise of people who know that subject area, who want to pursue their careers there and explore the space. Thirdly, I think oceans are very huge. More than 75% of Earth is underwater in oceans, and we have still not explored all the different trenches and spaces within the ocean. So, any kind of ocean research, ocean exploration, etc., would again require a lot of human thought, intervention, and things along those lines. Again, I am saying there would be advanced robots and machines that may be doing the work, but then it will be with the assistance of human beings as well. So that will be definitely an area. Clean energy, clean tech, renewable resources like wind, water, air, solar, etc., will be big as well. Nanotechnology, MEMS, these will be big as well, where people can focus and work upon. Then, as you basically look forward to various other areas, I think. creative arts, so singing, music, movie production, all those areas will still require a lot of human input. Again, having said that, there will be bunch of tools like VFX and a lot of generative AI based like music generation, etc. But the idea, the thought of what needs to be generated, how things need to collaborate together, etc., will still be owned by human beings. So think of it this way, that any person who depends upon following instructions, or any person who depends upon uh, going through like a workflow or a flow chart with step by step instructions, or any human being or any skill that depends upon knowing certain facts and then applying them to real world solutions, etc., or data flows or what database flows, those professions will cease to exist, which used to employ a lot of average, below average people. Even a lot of intelligent people used to work in these fields. These are no longer going to remain the key jobs or top jobs or jobs which will have tremendous amount of people required. All these kind of jobs that are step by step workflow based, or leverage data just to move from one place to another, basic coding of systems, APIs, structures, etc., they are going to be completely abolished in the next few years. I wouldn't even say it will take 10 years. It will happen, as I have said in my previous podcast, this can happen within next 3 to 4 years actually from now. So give or take 2030, many of these jobs will no longer exist, and they will be completely automated, because that is the beauty of generative AI as well as AI in particular. Wherever you have patterns, wherever you have uh, repeated steps, wherever you have data flow, etc., that can be coded in very well, and with small kind of fuzziness, with small variability, etc., AI can really handle it well. You don't need a lot of human energy, human thought, human throughput to it. Maybe where humans will be required would be mostly around building the contracts, validating these systems to make sure that they are working in right tandem and things like that. So of course there you would have human beings, but heavy lifting, majority of the workloads will be done through automated systems. So if your focus is going to be on fundamental research, where you try to understand the core concepts of the nature, and then build abstract concepts based upon that, applying it to real world business or nature, anything along those lines, your job will be secured, because those are some of the skill sets would be needed. And more often than not, I would say the core human skills which are built around communication, empathy, feeling, intuition, those will be very much required and will be of very high demand. And because of this, the real soft skills will basically differentiate you from somebody else, right? Why we are humans? Because we not only follow rules, but we can basically break rules and we can create rules. We do not just follow instructions. People who are sitting to take instructions, or people who are willing to just follow the route, etc., unfortunately will have a very tough time. And for those reasons, they will basically find very difficult to basically get any kind of jobs. However, people who are creative, who are innovative, who question the status quo, so basically just having basic skills of math, science, etc., will no longer be good enough. You will need to basically have something extraordinary along the lines of being able to think out of the box, being able to question the existing workflows, have the empathy to understand other people, build relationships, be able to communicate your ideas really well. And of course, it goes without saying, being able to leverage the latest and the greatest research that happens in the fields of AI or other kind of technologies, so that you can leverage the tools completely available at your behest and use them to fulfill your goals and roles. So that is why I have kind of tried to define certain areas where A lot of research will happen, and people will have to pay a lot of attention to those areas. But then I'm also trying to talk about the skill set that the human beings will be required and which will be prized as we move into the next decade actually. So those are some of the things, and I've not tried to coin them with respect to whether AI will be required or not. Anything that requires research, right, is going to be required, whether it is in the field of AI or medicine or physics research or mathematical research or even ocean research, space exploration, planet research, energy research. There are multiple of those areas, right? And funnily speaking, governments will still remain. Anybody who works for government will have their job secured. So like politics, government, these will always remain, and people who work on those areas will also be able to successfully enjoy jobs, and they will not have to fear about these layoffs and things like that. uh, I'm reading a comment from Aryan Bansal. Hey Aryan, what do you think about crypto? Crypto is also a kind of a tool, a technology, right, through which people, basically there are two kind of things. So one is the distributed ledger, through which you can record all the transactions, like we call them as blockchain primarily, and the currency itself, the cryptocurrency that we basically call these days. uh, I mean, it is there. Will it become mainstream? It is very hard to say. People have been saying about it for last, I say, almost a decade, since crypto came into the forebeing, starting with Bitcoin. But even today, even though its utilization has increased, but it has still not become mainstream actually yet. So I mean, where it will land or not, not sure exactly, but I think that it will remain there as a niche area. But I don't think it is still going to become a mainstream thing. Are people doing crypto in Ghaziabad? I'm not sure. I don't interact a lot with people here in Delhi, but I do know in startup world, a lot of people have their investments in crypto. They talk about it, but I don't think it is still kind of a mainstream thing. There are people in pockets here and there who kind of do that, and there is a sizable community of crypto as well. I don't think it is kind of a futuristic technology that will make or break the things. Or I personally have no investment in crypto. I have some investment in stocks in the US, and then I have investment in mutual funds in India. But other than that, and I'm anyway very modest, I would say, an investor. I don't, I mean, couple of years ago, I didn't even have any investments other than CDs in the US and FDs in India. Only I think since 2015 onwards is what I started putting money in mutual funds in India, and then in the US, I think I started putting in mutual funds only in, I think, 2000, maybe 1920 time frame. Yeah, that's what I will imagine. Yeah. If you want to get money from US to India, you can get via crypto. I mean, you can get directly also. I mean, you can transfer US dollars to India through a lot of forex transfer, or even your regular banks. I mean, they will convert it. Or if you want to keep it in the US dollar itself, you can do an FCNR account transfer as well. So those options are also there, as long as your money is white. In my case, it is white. So I don't care about crypto or anything like that. I can do it right without doing any of those things as well. There is a small wire fees that one has to give. It's not too much. I mean, I've done it in the past also. That's not a big deal. But overall, what I was saying was that as we prepare for the next decade, make sure that you are ready with these thoughts. Or if you have kids, or if you have younger folks who are starting their career or getting into area where in the next couple of years they are going to graduate and start the job search, make sure that whatever we have learned in the past 2 3 decades, what we studied in our times, may not be very relevant as we basically look forward to the next decade. So it is my urge to all the people out here who are listening to this podcast, and also to the other people who would be listening it offline, not in this live podcast situation, is that prepare for human skills like communication, articulation, research, problem solving, adaptability, right? And continue to keep upskilling yourself all the time, keep reading, uh, entertain yourself through this podcast, etc. Because quest for knowledge should never stop, because once you stop learning, you are already dead, even if from physically you are alive, but your mind stops growing and mind stops working actually. So please continue to do that. And as I said, there will be opportunities in other areas. It's just that the way the opportunities strike or how you conduct your work will completely be changed in the next few years. There are a couple of more questions. Let me read that. Aryan Bansal, did you feel racism in US? I actually did not, to be very honest, and it could be possible that I did not live in all 50 states in the US. I was mostly, focused on the tech hubs of the US, right? Mostly on the East Coast and on the West Coast, and key tech cities such as San Jose, San Francisco, Seattle, and New York, New Jersey, maybe Austin, Texas, maybe Maryland, right, and Montreal, Vancouver. Those were some of the places I have lived in the U.S. And for whatever reason, I actually never faced any kind of racism or any of those sorts, right? But having said that, I'm not going to deny there is none, but I have faced racism in Europe, actually in London itself. The way people talk to you, or like how they interact with you, etc. I have seen that. So in my mind, actually, I find US is a very, very liberal, open country that basically attracts people from all over the world, and they basically mingle out very well. You will have all kind of communities in the US actually. And especially if you live in tech hubs, the ones that I just mentioned on the East Coast or West Coast, or even in South, in the areas such as Austin or Houston, etc. You have bunch of Indian communities out there, and you don't have to live in the Indian communities also. Generally, Americans are very welcoming and good in nature. But again, I have not spent time in, let's say, Kansas or Midwest and things like that. So I can't claim for the whole of US, but my experience of over a decade in the US has been joyous actually. There have been some select incidents here and there. I mean, those kind of incidents I have faced in Bangalore, in Chennai as well, because I'm a North Indian and I don't know Kannada or Tamil. And I actually got into big fights actually with the auto rickshaw people in both Bangalore and in Chennai actually. And those fights got like really bad, like even a fish started flowing in. That's what I have seen even in India. So if I use that as a thing, I never had that kind of a situation in the US, even though I'm not originally from US, or easily anyone can see me and say you are not from the US and you are from Indian origin. So from that perspective, I think US is a very, very open and welcoming place for people. Right now, there are very many incidents that have come to light, which showcase that there is a increased amount of racism against Indians, and a lot of social media is a buzz from people making fun of Indians across like Canada or in Australia, in US, etc. I think India is such a huge population that you have all kind of people, right? So you have people who have gone abroad on the donkey route, as we call it, who are illegal aliens in these countries, and sometimes because they have gone through those illegal routes, they tend to not gel well with the local population, and they work in like on cash, or and they do not integrate in the actual legal framework in the host countries, and they may create these kind of problems. Some of them are like problematic because they come from criminal backgrounds. So they doing certain things versus a lot of other Indians like myself who have created businesses or who work in high tech, create a name for themselves, file patents, and work at senior positions, directors, VPs, etc. In these different countries, have a different, say altogether. So you have both kind of like people. It's just that in social media sometimes you tend to highlight just one particular dimension very much. uh, I know like in India also a lot of people talk about like the hygiene is very poor in India, pollution is very high, the all the street side food sellers in India do not wear gloves, or the cooking oil is like completely bad, etc. So if you go out, it is true, but then who is asking you to basically eat there, right? You can always choose a like a Haldiram or Bikaner, or at least go for some level of quality, right? Do not have to go to completely a roadside joint and eat there because you don't know about their quality or what kind of oil or spices, etc. they are using. But then on social media, those kind of things gets highlighted quite a bit, right? Similar vein, right? The racism things, etc., that you see in like Canada or US or Australia gets highlighted. That may not be true as an entire truth. Like every day I don't go eat out on the streets and roadside stores, right? I technically never do that. I always either order food from like Haldirams or any other restaurant, right? uh, and I rarely basically go out. It's already too polluted for me to go out and eat those kind of things. So I think the negative things tend to amplify quite a bit, whether it is for US, Canada, Australia, etc., or even for India. So we have to evaluate everything in its context and take a decision from there. So yes, long story short, for me, stay in the US was actually pretty welcoming. It was very rewarding for me and my family. We had some of the best years there, enjoying the good weather, eating the good food, going into the walks in the nature, and we made some good money out there, right? Goes without saying. And because I was there, I was exposed to different cultures, different lifestyles, different people who I interacted. So I think my worldview even expanded further, even though prior to going to the US I had already been to Singapore and Japan and China, etc. But those places were very homogeneous. Like for instance, Singapore is, you can say it's a cosmopolitan, but it's a kind of a city. But Japan, China, mostly these are just one language, one type of people across the country. US is not like that. I mean, it's very heterogeneous population, and people come from all over the place. Like I had so many people that I knew were from Russia, Ukraine, Middle East, and then of course Mexican, Cuban, Puerto Rican, and then of course from the remainder of the US. So we had all sorts of like Irish people, etc., who I used to interact with and live nearby. So US was a very refreshing experience for me. And had it not been good, I don't think one can stay like 10, 15 years um, in a country if it's like not easy to stay there, and it creates roadblocks for you. So for me, I mean, maybe in future once things stabilizes again, and my kids are also a little bit independent, etc., maybe who knows, we may go back to the US again, though right now that's not the plan, but you never know. So with that, I'll leave all of you on a Sunday afternoon. I hope you all are enjoying your time, enjoying the winter seasons, and hopefully this podcast would have given you some ideas as to where to invest your money, what to study, and how do you look forward to future of jobs in the next decade or so. So if you like this podcast, please do like, share, and subscribe. Write to me about what other topics you would like for me to cover. Till then, take care.